All right, folks, back on the Bossman show, legendary head coach of the New Hampshire Wildcats, Bill Herrion on the show. Coach Herrion, how things up there in New Hampshire, man?
It's going great, man. That's the first time I've ever been called legendary. So that must mean you're getting old. Okay.
Hey, you've
Yeah.
been there going on your 18th year, man. You're a legend in New Hampshire basketball, man.
Yeah. Well. You know what? I'm a New England guy. My family was born right outside of New York City. Then we moved up to Massachusetts. So I'm a Northeast guy, but coaching's taken me around, down to Philadelphia, Drexel University, down to East Carolina University, down in Greenville, North Carolina. But, this is home for me. So, yeah, 18 years, man. It's unbelievable. Be my 32nd year all together as a Division I head coach.
Can you believe it? Coach has already been 18 years in one place. Can you believe in this business the way it is now?
No, you know what, man? I'm not going to lie. It's not like we've been like cutting nets down every year, and the time's flown by, but it has flown by. And as you well know, Jared, we're at a time right now in college basketball where the whole landscape, with the transfer portal and COVID and guys getting extra years, it's just changed, the whole way we recruit and just the whole game of college basketball.
No doubt. I feel like Coach Herrion, you have to kind of maybe love on your guys a little bit more because there's so much outside noise beyond just the court and the team and the coaches. I know back when I was a young man and coaches, whatever the coach said, I did it. It wasn't I listened to my cousin, my AU coach,
Right.
or it was always whatever coach said, do it. And so hearing that, see how it is now, Coach, I had to adjust to it as you've gained more years in your career there.
No, it's definitely changed, and you're right on. It's I think the kids are different. I think maybe some of the AAU basketball has, from that standpoint where you got a lot of outside people, you got a lot of different hands on these kids, not like the older days where it was okay, you played for your high school, you recruited kids through the high school coach, through the parents. Now there's so many different layers, and you're right. I think these kids, with social media nowadays, what they see on social media, it's trying to coach these guys right now. It's definitely a challenge.
And Coach, I'm asking this, man. My father was a coach. He's 81 years old, man. So he still coaches me to this day, man. And my uncle coaches at St. John's football. He's 73 years old. So Let me ask you this: what got you to want to be a coach, and what was your why to get into coaching?
Well, I kind of got the same background as you. My dad was a coach. My mother and father were born right outside of New York City in Yonkers, New York. And my father was a high school coach in New York. Long story short, he was very good friends at the time with the coach. This is going way back now. The coach at Power Memorial High School in New York City, who had at the time Lou Alcindor, who became Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And my father and the coach there were very good friends. The coach there got the head job at Holy Cross College up in Massachusetts. That's how we moved to New England. So I've grown up in a basketball family my whole life. It's in my blood. It's really kind of the only thing I wanted to do. And here we are, man. I was 10 years an assistant coach. I paid my dues in Division III, in Division II, in Division I, and now 32 years going on a head coach. So you're talking about 42 years in this game. But, it's through my family, and it was through my dad.
I hear that, Coach. You know what, man? You know what's so funny about it? On Father's Day, man, my father got already texted over 1,000 text messages from his old players of people who just thanks, Coach Jay, for what you did for me. Thanks. And that makes you feel good when your guys come text you on Father's Day, let you know they had a child, got married, invited you to weddings, and things of that nature.
Yeah, you know what, though? I think, unfortunately, they all don't get it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, when you're coaching them and when you're trying to challenge and trying to get more out of them and try to make them the best players they can be. And then I think the ultimate goal in our sport is, you want to win it. You want to win a championship. You want to cut the nets down, and you want to go to the NCAA tournament. That's everybody's dream and goal. But it's a tough road, man. Stuff's not handed to you. It's not for free. And I think sometimes I like it. I get more satisfaction when maybe 10, 15, 20 years down the road, after they're done, you might have a former player either call, run into them. Because now it's happening at my age is I'm recruiting former players that I coach, their kids. You with me? So you're running into more as you get older, and they say, you know what? It took me a while, but now I get it. Now I know why. And that makes you feel pretty good.
Like I told you off air about Randy Peel, somebody who's very close to me, and the lessons he's given me, poured to me over the years is like so much he's done for me. And he always tells me, JR, do the next right thing. That's what I've always learned about Coach Peel. For always, message always been to me all these years has always been do the next right thing. So talk about Randy Peel, what he's done in his business, and you've known him for many years, but I feel like he's done a great job helping me as a person, for sure.
Well, you know what, Jeff, it's funny when you mentioned it to me before we came on. Now in my mind, I'm thinking back. I first met Randy when he was an assistant coach at St. Michael's College, a Division II school up here in the Northeast in Vermont. I believe I might have been an assistant at Merrimack, which was a Division II school. That's when I first met Randy. I know he spent time at many schools down south. He was at UNC Greensboro for a while. I was the head coach at East Carolina in Greenville, North Carolina for 6 years. At one time, I had an assistant spot open, and I needed to hire kind of a guy that was familiar with that North Carolina, South Carolina area, down south a little bit, Virginia. And I tried to hire Randy, brought him in to interview him. I wanted to hire him, but I think he was holding out, like I told you before. I think he was holding out for more money, so I couldn't get him at that time. But I've got a lot of respect for Randy.
No doubt. He's been great to me over the years. And let me ask you about this, Coach Herrion. Tell me about the old classic Campbell basketball camps down there, man, and how wild they were.
No, you know what? It's like basketball camps have changed, so much through the years. I think I always tell my players now, like, you guys, like, none of these kids really go to camps anymore. It's all AAU. It's all team tournaments. Back in the day, like, my father ran a summer basketball camp up in the Catskill Mountains, up in the middle of nowhere in New York. And my family used to pack the car right after school got done in June, and we would be there all summer on outdoor courts, outdoor cabins. That's how I remember camp. So all camps back in that day, it was just, it's so much different now. It really is. It's just the connections, the camaraderie. You met so many coaches through working camps, and you had a good time doing it.
I remember going to Coach Crimmon's camp when I was a child. So much fun going to those camps, and to this day I could go see him and say hello. And I went to some other camps and saw different coaches, and then nowadays they see me as a radio host now. Remember when I was using a camper of mine. Now look at you now, like it's just wild to see that. So I'm heading towards 40 years old now. It's like, wow, yeah.
No. I'll tell you, it's crazy. Like, when you travel and you go around and you run into people. For me, it's like 20, maybe 30 years later, I'll have adults come up to me and go, Coach, I remember you when you were coaching so-and-so. I went to your camp. And it's just amazing how time flies, and just, it's and who you come in contact with.
And Coach, tell me about the America East, man. It's a tough conference. I know that John Becker has been running it with Vermont, but talk about the quality of basketball in that conference, man, and how people should really watch what you all do up there, man, the America East.
It's a great mid-major conference, and I know we don't get the recognition and the publicity of obviously the bigger schools, the Power Fives. I think what the America East has always been. Now, you got to remember, JR, when I was at Drexel University back, that was my first head coaching job for 8 years back in the early, late 90s. We were in the America East at that time. Now, Jay Wright, his first head coaching job was at Hampshire University in Long Island in New York. He was in our league. Mike Bray, who's been at Notre Dame forever, was at the University of Delaware, which was our rival when I was at Drexel. So it's always been a great coaches league. And right now, we've got great young coaches in our league. And you're right, Vermont's been like the measuring stick. They've really had a control of this league. John Becker's done a phenomenal job with Vermont. They got good players. They're tough to beat. This year in the first round of the NCAA tournament, they played Arkansas in the first round and kind of had them beat. Arkansas pulled it out, and that's a team that went to the Elite Eight. So it's a good league, good players. Back when I was at Drexel in my younger days, I told you earlier, I coached Malik Rose at Drexel for 4 years, 13-year NBA career. Okay, 2 world championships with the San Antonio Spurs. You knew him with the Atlanta Hawks when he was an assistant GM. Speedy Claxton, who played at Hofstra for Jay Wright, longtime NBA career. Vinny Baker, I'm going back now. Vinny Baker played at the University of Hartford, which was in our league. All pro, Boston Celtics, I think Seattle. So they've had really good players in this league through the years.
And Speedy was at the Hawks for a cup of tea as well.
Yeah, exactly. Great.
Yes.
Speedy, a great college player. Probably one of the quickest, like foul line to foul line in the open court, speed with the ball players that I've ever coached against.
And actually, I know Vin Baker because Vin Baker coached with Mike Budenholzer, who was the coach for here at the Hawks for 5 years. So that staff, Darvin Ham, who's got a job at the Lakers now, Charles Lee and Taylor Jenkins, I knew all those guys from when Bud was here. So I got the connection to Vin Baker through Coach Budenholzer.
Yeah. Vinny Baker, man, not even recruited out of high school. He was from Connecticut. He was like 6'8", 6'9" his senior year in high school. Really, really like long, lanky kid, and went under recruited big time, but had a great career at Hartford and then a long time NBA career.
And Coach, for your workouts, man, how much do you balance in the individual work versus in summer one, summer two versus doing more team stuff installs for the guys who are new?
That's a great question that you mentioned that. We just started summer school here this past Monday, 2 days ago. And what the transfer portal did to our team last year, JR, we got hit really hard losing guys in the portal. But I think it's 1,700 Division I players went into the portal this past year. It's a problem, man. And I don't know when it's going to go away. We're balancing that right now. We brought in 10 new players. So 2 things got to happen really quick, man. Number one is we got to get our chemistry together. We got to bring 10 new guys, okay, and try to bring them together as quickly as we can. And we got to evaluate. We don't really know their games yet because we really haven't coached them. So I think there's a fine line between how much team stuff. Kids like to play now. They don't want to drill. They want to play. But I'm still a firm believer, though. You still have to teach these kids the basic fundamentals of the game before they can get on the court. You have to.
No doubt, Coach. My father was the same exact way. My father's all about drill work and teaching the game. He calls it the baseline.
That's right.
The baseline, which we're going to do every day. And every time we get on this court here, that's why my father's always been about the baseline every day, the foundational pieces.
Yeah, you got to have a foundation, man, and you got to have fundamental skills. You got to be able to handle the ball, pass. Now, the game, as you well know, you're in the NBA. You see it all the time. I think the problem is our college kids, our players, they love watching the NBA. That's how they want to play because they all think they're going to get to that level. The old days of post up, throw it inside, power game, get on the glass. Those days are done. You see it. Okay, it's all spread. It's all shoot three. Look at the threes when the Celtics and the Golden State Warriors played in the NBA Finals, man. The amount of threes that are being shot. I'm not against it. I'm really not. Okay, but it's the old days of like McHale, Parrish, Bird, those guys throwing it inside. Those days are over.
Like here at the Hawks, we're based off of a 4-out, 1-in with a 1-5 pick and roll with Capella or John Collins trying to get Trae Young a floater, a jumper, a corner three, or a weak side or a strong side three, or a lob to Capella or Collins, whoever the ball screener is.
Yeah, I think all the front, if you want to call them 5 men, I guess nowadays, they're not posting on the block. What they are is they're kind of rim runners. They're trail ball screen guys, or they're sprint out and roll ball screen guys. That's all they are. And that's where the game's at right now.
No doubt. My father's like you, man. My father he had to adapt. He didn't want to, but he had to. My father's like, son, you can still pound the post with the right guy and cause double team and put the defense in rotation.
No, I think you can. I think you still got to play some inside out. You know what I'm saying? I think you got to beat up. Yeah, but you know what? What everybody's doing now, and I think we can do this with our team at UNH this year. We have kind of big guards, big wings. I think you got to post your bigger guards, because look at the NBA. Everything is get a ball screen, force a switch, get a mismatch, and then try to take advantage of the switch. That's all it is. Nobody's really running plays.
Exactly. We have one play, pretty much. It's called 4-way go.
No, you're right. You're right. Like I pull my pad out. I go, okay, I'm going to watch the Celtics. I really think, Udoka's a very, very good young coach. Obviously, Steve Kerr's a great coach. So when I watch an NBA game, I pull my pad out. Okay, I'm going to write something down if I like a set. You know what? At the end of the night, my pad's blank. I'm not writing anything down because nobody's running anything.
Exactly.
But yeah. But, Steph Curry, I mean, hey, he's the greatest three-point shooter in the world, man. You got to let him go.
No doubt, Coach. I was asking this, man. I feel like New England does not get enough credit for the basketball that's up there, for the talent up there. Talk about recruiting up there in New England, man, and driving a 200-mile radius around your campus up there in Durham and finding the right fits for your program.
Well, it's New England basketball, New England college basketball. When you look at the 6 states, UConn, BC, Providence, UMass. It's there's a lot of basketball tradition up here in the Northeast, up in the New England area. What's happened with recruiting is, it's you hardly recruit kids out of high schools anymore because most of these kids, especially the kids in the city, are leaving high schools and going to these big time prep schools, if you're with me. Mm-hmm. So you're not even recruiting them out of high school. You're recruiting them out of prep school. And, the recruiting's changed. It really has. It's changed dramatically. And I feel so bad these last couple of years, especially with the COVID and not being able to get out as coaches as much. The players that have really suffered through this are the high school kids. Unless you're like a high level Power 5 Duke, Kentucky, Kansas kind of guy, they're going to know you. It's those middle ground guys I think have really been overlooked.
Coach, I'm asking you about this. It's been a college coach, man. The draft is happening in NBA, and I feel like these agents are leading these kids astray. Some of them kids should have stayed in school. They're second round picks, and now coach in the NBA, second round picks now a 2-way contract. You're not even getting a real deal anymore. Since it's a 2-way contract, since it's a G League, and you could have been in college increasing your stock, but your agent oversold you on a dream that's not really true, that you're going to be a first round pick. Now you're stuck in your career starting off behind the 8 ball already.
I think you're right, and I think what's happening now is, everybody wants the money quickly. Look at what's going on in college basketball with this NIL stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's, I think these kids want to get paid as quickly as they can. You're right. I love college basketball. I follow college basketball really, really close. There's guys getting drafted in the second round, and you're sitting back as a coach going, wow, man, I can't believe that. I mean, I don't know if he's going to play, and yeah, you're right. I don't know. It's so many young guys coming out now,
It's unfortunate because, we drafted Tyrese Martin with the Hawks here. And I'm saying to myself, there's no spots for you, brother. You're going to be in College Park in the G League team at best. Like Sharif Cooper, before they picked in the draft last year, the G League team on 2-way contract. Should stay to Auburn, So it's like,
yeah.
Now, Adrian Griffin, the kid we drafted, he won't play either because Nathan Miller does not play rookies. So Johnson from Duke and Griffin from Duke won't be in our rotation next year at all. So I'm like, you came out, you come to a team that does not play rookies. You'll be in the G League all year. I feel bad for these young men.
Yeah, though, it looks like, you know better than I do, though. It looks like, though, the G League, so many more guys are eventually coming out of the G League, though, and getting opportunities in the NBA. That's what I see. Yeah. Malik Rose, who I told you I coached at Drexel, Malik, I think, is running the G League right now. I think he's in the NBA front office, but I think he's the president of the G League right now.
Yeah, it's definitely good. I just thought these young men, coach, should really just maximize their dollars. Now I'm happy for Pat Ball when I'm friends with his father. The Warriors drafted him number 28, but he should have probably not played for his father last year and got hurt. But he fell with a good team to be the Warriors. You're good there, but it's like you could have done better if you went to a different school and not play for your dad. I know you want to save your dad's job, but I'm like, it's like some of these kids have to realize the big coach.
I mean, how many? I don't know how many kids are going to come out of college after 1 year and be ready to have an impact, physically, mentally, understanding the travel, understanding being on the road, being away from home, being away from their families. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. So I'm on your side. I think these kids should stay in college a little bit longer, but the dollar signs, I mean, it's hard to turn down for some of these guys.
And coach, me being, close to 40, and I'm kind of like that they're big brothers. I'll try to be able to tell them stuff in the most nice way I can to help them out, because I don't want these guys to blow money. Because being in the NBA, as long as I have, coach, I've seen guys getting him blow money. Buying 8, 9 cars. You don't need to be in the cars, So I'll try to help these young men best I can, guide them for their money and finances and making decisions that are better for them, because their agents will lie to them. I said, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Your agent's gonna tell you what you want to hear. I'm gonna tell you the truth.
Oh, I think that money can go quick, man. If you don't have money and all of a sudden you have it, you can spend it quick, and then you sit back and you look, you go, you know what? I still got to live the rest of my life. What am I gonna do? So hopefully they're getting good advice. They got to keep getting that advice for sure.
That's one for your coaches. I'm gonna ask you. I'm a foodie, man. What's your favorite spots to eat up there in Durham, man?
Well, hey, we got a nice little seaside town, which is about 10 minutes away from Durham, called Portsmouth, New Hampshire. It's right off of 95 North. It's right on the ocean. It's a quaint, little historic town, and they've got great restaurants. If you're ever up this way, man, you got to check it out. Stop through Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Great spot.
How far is it from Boston, Coach?
We're only an hour.
Okay.
We're an hour north of Boston.
So I'm going to tell you this. We come to town. We stay over there, stay over by the guards. I'm going to do is I'm going to get you offline. So when I come play the Celtics next year, I'm going to say, hey, Coach, I'm here. Let's link up, man.
You do that. We'll hook up, okay?
Thanks, Coach. This was fun, buddies. I really enjoyed this chat today, man.
Okay. Hey, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Anytime, Coach.